The klaxons screamed across Ellington Field as Staff Sergeant Thaddeus Grimwald watched the impossible unfold on his radar screen. 6 objects, each the size of a city block, descended through Texas airspace at speeds that defied physics. Number: heat signatures. No conventional propulsion. Just smooth, deliberate movement toward Houston's metropolitan sprawl. Control. "This is Warhawk 7, crackled through his headset. Captain Sarah Vex's voice carried the steady calm that had earned her 3 tours in Afghanistan. "I've got visual on the bogies. They're not from around here." Over Grimwald's weathered hands trembled as he keyed his radio. 23 years in the Corps, and nothing had prepared him for this moment. "Warhawk 7, say again your assessment." "Sarge, these aren't birds or balloons or weather phenomena. These are ships, alien ships, and they're beautiful." Through the reinforced windows of the command center, Grimwald could see them structures that seemed to bend light around their edges, casting prismatic rainbows across the evening sky. They moved with purpose, arranging themselves in a perfect hexagonal formation above the city. Major Chen Blackwood burst through the command center doors, his dress blues hastily thrown over civilian clothes. The base commander's usually impeccable appearance was disheveled, but his eyes burned with the intensity that had made him legendary among his Marines. "Status report, Grimwald." "Sir, 6 unidentified craft entered our airspace at 1947 hours. No response to radio contact. No hostile action detected, but they're just ... sitting there." Blackwood studied the tactical display, his jaw working methodically on a piece of gum. "Rules of engagement. Pentagon's gone dark, sir. We're on our own until further notice." The major nodded grimly. This was what Marines trained for, the moment when command structures failed and individual initiative became the difference between victory and defeat. "Alert status to DEFCON 2. Scramble all available aircraft and get me the governor on secure line." Outside, the alien vessels began to emit a low, harmonic thrum that resonated through the ground itself. Windows rattled in their frames, car alarms triggered across the city, but there was something oddly musical about the sound, like wail songs translated through cosmic distances. Lance Corporal Jung-Hoon Vasquez emerged from the communications bunker, his face pale but determined. "Sir, I'm picking up transmissions from the craft. It's not on any frequency we recognize, but there's definitely intelligence behind it. Patterns a mathematical sequence. Any indication of their intentions?" "Unknown, sir, but ... Jung-Hoon hesitated, then pressed forward. "Sir, my grandmother always said that when strangers come to your door, you have to choices meet them with open hands or closed fists. These beings crossed the entire universe to get here. That takes either incredible desperation or incredible hope." Blackwood's expression softened slightly. The boy was green, barely out of boot camp, but he possessed something that couldn't be taught, wisdom beyond his years. "Maybe so, Marine, but this is Texas, and we're United States Marines. We don't back down from anyone or anything, terrestrial or otherwise." He turned to address the entire command center. "Listen up, devils. History is watching us tonight. Whatever these beings want, they're going to learn that humanity doesn't kneel. We stand, we fight, and we protect our own." The harmonic thrum grew louder, and the first alien vessel began its descent toward the city below. The lead vessel touched down in Herman Park with the gentleness of a falling leaf, despite its massive size. The crystalline hull seemed to phase between solid matter and pure energy, creating an aurora effect that painted the surrounding trees in impossible colors. Children pressed their faces against apartment windows while their parents pulled them back. Torn between wonder and terror, Major Blackwood adjusted his dress blues one final time as his convoy approached the landing site. The decision to meet the aliens personally had been his alone against protocol, against common sense, but entirely in keeping with marine tradition. Leaders led from the front. "Sir, we should establish a perimeter at least 500 meters out," suggested Captain Sarah Vex from the passenger seat. Her FA-18 had been the first to escort the alien craft down, and she'd volunteered to accompany the ground delegation. "Negative. If they wanted us dead, we'd already be vapor." Blackwood's voice carried conviction, but his hand rested unconsciously on his sidearm. "Besides, someone needs to show these visitors what Southern hospitality looks like." The Marine convoy halted 50 meters from the alien vessel. Through his binoculars, Blackwood could see an opening materializing in the ship's hull, not a door opening, but matter simply ceasing to exist in a perfect rectangular pattern. 3 figures emerged, and Blackwood felt his breath catch. They were unmistakably alien, yet hauntingly familiar. Tall and graceful, with elongated limbs and faces that seemed carved from living moonlight. Their skin shifted between translucent and opaque, revealing intricate patterns beneath the surface that pulsed with soft bioluminescence. The central figure stepped forward, and when it spoke, the words formed directly in Blackwood's mind. Not telepathy, exactly, but something far more intimate. "I am Zarkonian of the 7th Fleet. We come seeking the ones who sing the war songs among the stars." Jung-hoon, monitoring communications equipment in the command vehicle, looked up sharply. "Sir, I'm detecting massive electromagnetic pulses from their ship, but they're synchronized with our brainwave patterns. They're not just communicating, they're harmonizing with us." Blackwood stepped forward, his boots crunching on the frost that had somehow formed around the alien craft despite the Texas heat. He snapped to attention and rendered a perfect salute. "Major Chen Blackwood, United States Marine Corps, welcome to Earth." The alien's features shifted in what might have been amusement. "Your warrior's discipline resonates across the void, Chen Blackwood. We have traveled far to witness the species that makes music from conflict and honor from sacrifice. Music." Captain Vex stepped up beside her commander, her pilot's instincts alert for any sign of deception. "Your military communications, your battle cries, your ceremonies of remembrance, they create patterns in space-time itself. Beautiful, terrible patterns that speak of a species that chooses to fight for others rather than itself." A second alien moved forward, its mental voice carrying a different harmonic. "I am Zircon, speaker for the scientific cast. We study warrior cultures across the galaxy. Most species fight for territory, resources, or survival. But you fight for concepts, ideas, for beings you have never met and never will. Staff." Sergeant Grimwald's voice crackled through Blackwood's earpiece. "Sir, we're detecting more ships entering the system. Hundreds of them. This isn't just first contact, an invasion force." The alien's bioluminescent patterns suddenly flared brighter, and Zarkonian's mental voice carried urgency. "Your Grimwald speaks truth. The Devourers come, drawn by the same songs that brought us here. They consume warrior cultures, adding their strength to the collective. We came to warn you, but fear we may be too late." Blackwood felt the familiar weight of command settle on his shoulders. The moment every Marine trained for when the mission became bigger than yourself, bigger than your unit, bigger than your nation. "How long do we have?" "Perhaps 3 of your days. Maybe less," the Major's jaw tightened. "Then we'd better get to work." The situation room at Ellington Field had been transformed into something resembling organized chaos. Human and alien technology interfaced in ways that should have been impossible, creating holographic displays that showed the approaching threat in terrifying detail. The Devourer fleet stretched across space like a dark cancer, thousands of vessels, each one pulsing with malevolent energy. Dr. Minjun Ashcroft, a xenolinguist hastily flown in from MIT, worked alongside Zircon to establish more efficient communication protocols. Her neural interface headset, cobbled together from alien technology and human ingenuity, allowed for rapid information exchange, The translation matrix is stabilizing, she reported, her eyes wide with the implications of what she was learning. Major, these devourers don't just conquer worlds, they absorb the fighting spirit of entire species. Every battle they win makes them stronger. Zarkonian's luminescent form flickered with what the humans had learned to recognize as distress. 27 civilizations have fallen to them in the past galactic cycle. Each possessed warriors of great renown, the crystal phalanxes of Meridian, the void hunters of the spiral arm, the storm riders of the outer reaches, all consumed, all forgotten. Major Blackwood studied the tactical projections, his mind already formulating battle plans. The alien ships possessed technology centuries beyond human capability, but the devourers were even more advanced. This wouldn't be won through superior firepower. What's their weakness? He asked bluntly. Weakness, Zircon's mental voice carried. Confusion. They have conquered galaxies. Chun Blackwood. They are apex predators of space. Everything has a weakness. Captain Vex leaned over the holographic display, her pilot's eye analyzing attack patterns. They're organic ships, right? Living creatures modified for war. Correct. They breed for battle, evolve through conflict. Then they think like predators, Blackwood concluded. Predictable patterns. Hunt in packs. Go for the weakest prey first. His eyes met Vex's, an understanding passed between them. Sarah, how many birds can we get in the air? Every fighter, bomber, and transport on the Gulf Coast. Maybe 300 aircraft total. Jung-hoon looked up from his communications station, his youthful face grim with determination. Sir, I've been monitoring civilian radio chatter. Words, getting out despite the media blackout. Texas National Guard is mobilizing. Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, they're all moving units toward Houston. Blackwood nodded approvingly. Outstanding. Zircon, can your people fight alongside us? We are explorers, not warriors. Our vessels carry defensive systems only. That's all right. We're Marines, we specialize in impossible odds. The Major turned to address the room. Listen up, people. In approximately 60 hours, the nastiest sons of bitches in the galaxy are going to come calling. They expect to find another species to add to their collection. Instead, they're going to discover what happens when you mess with Texas. A new voice cut through the planning session. Lance, Corporal SEO, Ion Brightwater, from the motor pool, her coverall stained with grease and alien lubricants. Sir, I've been working with their engineers. We can't match their weapons, but we can adapt their power systems to our equipment. Triple the range on our missiles. Double the armor effectiveness on our vehicles. How long? 18 hours for basic integration. 48 for full battlefield modification. Dr. Ashcroft removed her neural interface, her expression troubled. Major, there's something else. The Devourers don't just absorb military strength, they feed on the emotional resonance of combat, fear, hatred, desperation, but they've never encountered anything like what I'm reading from our communications. Meaning, Marines don't fight from fear or hatred. You fight from love. Love of country, love of course, love of the person next to you. That emotional frequency is, alien to them. It might be the disruption we need. Zarkonian's form brightened, with something resembling hope. This could work. If your warriors can maintain their emotional discipline under assault, create harmony, where the Devourers expect discord. It'll confuse the hell out of them, Blackwood finished. Maybe buy us the opening we need. He stood, his presence commanding the attention of every human and alien in the room. All right, people, we've got work to do. Jung-hoon, coordinate with civilian authorities. Full evacuation of Houston metropolitan area. COIN, get me those weapon modifications. Vex, I want every pilot combat ready in 36 hours. As the room exploded into activity, Blackwood stepped outside to look up at the Texas sky. Somewhere beyond those stars, the darkness was coming. But Texas had never backed down from a fight. and the Marines had never met an enemy they couldn't handle. The war for humanity was about to begin. The first wave of Devourer's ships dropped out of hyperspace like falling stars, their hulls bristling with biomechanical weaponry that pulsed with organic malevolence. From his command post, atop the J.P. Morgan Chase Tower, Major Blackwood watched the sky fill with nightmares, creatures that had devoured the dreams of 1,000 worlds, now turning their hunger toward Earth. All units, this is actual, he broadcast on the tactical frequency. Remember your training. Remember your brothers. Remember why we're here. The Devourer Vanguard consisted of Scout-class vessels. Scout could describe something the size of a skyscraper. They moved with predatory grace, their bioluminescent markings creating complex patterns designed to instill fear and confusion in their prey. But as they descended through the atmosphere, they encountered something unprecedented. In their eons of conquest, Warhawk Flight, Tally-ho, on bogies bearing 270. Captain Vex's voice cut through the communications chatter with professional calm. Her modified FA-18, now equipped with alien power cores, streaked toward the nearest Devourer ship, engaging with enhanced payload. The missile that erupted from her aircraft wasn't just human technology, it was a fusion of Earth engineering and Zarkonian science, guided by principles that neither species could have developed alone. When it struck the Devourer vessel, the explosion created a cascade failure that lit up the sky like a second sun. Jung-hoon monitored the battle from the communications center, his equipment now interfaced with alien sensors that could track energy patterns across multiple dimensions. Sir, their formation is wavering. I'm reading confusion in their command frequencies. Good, Blackwood replied, watching as more human aircraft engaged the enemy. Each pilot flew, not with the desperate fury the Devourers expected, but with the disciplined precision of warriors who knew exactly what they were fighting for. Maintain current engagement pattern. Make them think. On the ground, Staff Sergeant Grimwald led a company of Marines through the evacuated streets of downtown Houston. Their weapons had been modified with alien technology, firing projectiles that disrupted the Devourer's biomechanical systems. But more importantly, they moved as one unit, brothers in arms, whose trust in each other created a resonance that the enemy had never encountered. Contact left. Grimwald barked as a Devourer warrior form materialized from stealth. The creature was beautiful in its horror serpentine grace, combined with predatory intelligence. Its carapace shifting colors to match its emotional state. It expected to feed on fear and rage. Instead, it found Marines who fought from love. The combined fire from Grimwald's squad struck the alien warrior simultaneously, their coordinated assault creating an interference pattern that disrupted its adaptive defenses. The creature's death scream echoed across dimensions, carrying a note of confusion that rippled through the Devourer fleet, high above the battle. Zarkonian S-ship served as a mobile command center, its sensors analyzing the unprecedented combat data. Chen Blackwood, the alien's mental voice, carried excitement. Your warriors are creating harmonic disruptions in the Devourer's collective consciousness. They cannot adapt to emotional frequencies they do not understand, Dr. Ashcroft, monitoring the neural networks from her position in the command bunker, confirmed the readings. Major, we're seeing cascade failures in their command structure. Every time one of our units engages, it creates ripples of confusion through their entire force. How long can we maintain this advantage? Unknown. They're adaptive. Eventually, they'll figure out countermeasures. Lance Corporal Seoin's voice crackled through the tactical net from her position with the heavy weapons platoon. Sir, the modified artillery is performing beyond specifications. We're not just damaging their ships, we're disrupting their ability to process tactical information. The battle raged through the night, human aircraft dancing through skies filled with alien predators while Marines on the ground held defensive positions that should have been overrun within minutes. But something unprecedented was happening for the first time in their existence. The Devourers were encountering an enemy that grew stronger under pressure rather than weaker. All units, consolidate on Rally Point Alpha, Blackwood ordered. As dawn approached, the first phase of the battle was ending, but intelligence indicated this was merely reconnaissance in force. The real invasion fleet was still approaching as the surviving human forces regrouped. Zircon's ship descended to the makeshift landing zone in Memorial Park. The alien scientists' bioluminescent patterns flickered with amazement as it communicated with the human commanders. Unprecedented, it reported. In 12,000 years of studying warrior cultures, we have never observed such tactical adaptation. Your species fights as individuals while maintaining perfect collective harmony. It creates patterns the Devourers cannot comprehend. Captain Vex, her flight suit torn and her face streaked with exhaustion, managed a tired grin. That's because we're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for each other. But even as the humans celebrated their initial success, the main Devourer fleet was translating into local space. The real battle for Earth was about to begin. The main Devourer fleet emerged from hyperspace like a plague of living metal, their massive bioships blotting out stars as they approached Earth. From orbit, the invasion force appeared as a writhing mass of tentacles and teeth, each vessel pulsing with the absorbed essence of conquered civilizations. The scout force that had been repelled from Houston was nothing compared to this cosmic horror. Major Blackwood stood in the redesigned command center, now a fusion of human military efficiency and alien technology. Holographic displays showed the approaching fleet in all its terrifying glory, over 10,000 vessels of various sizes. Each one evolved for maximum psychological and physical destruction. Final count, Jung-hoon? He asked the communications specialist. Confirmed, 10,347 individual vessels, ranging from frigate class to ... Jung-hoon's voice trailed off as he stared at the largest readings. Sir, their flagship is approximately 50 kilometers long. It's not just a ship, it's a mobile planet. Dr. Ashcroft looked up from her neural interface, her expression grim. Major, I'm detecting massive psychic emanations from the fleet. They're broadcasting fear, despair, and hopelessness on every frequency. Psychological warfare on a scale I've never imagined. Zirconian's luminescent form flickered with distress. The Devourer prime ship contains the absorbed consciousness of every civilization they have conquered. 27 species cry out from within its hull, their voices turned to weapons against the living. Then we'd better give them something new to think about, Blackwood replied, his voice carrying the steady confidence that had carried Marines through impossible battles for over 2 centuries. All units, implement Operation Alamo, across Texas and the surrounding states. The largest military mobilization in human history was reaching its climax. Every available aircraft had been retrofitted with alien technology. National Guard units from 12 states had converged on Houston, their equipment enhanced beyond terrestrial limitations. Even civilian volunteers had joined the effort, their hunting rifles and pickup trucks modified with power cores that turned them into mobile artillery platforms. Captain Vex led the first wave of fighters as they climbed toward the descending alien fleet. Her squadron consisted of pilots from every branch of the military, their aircraft representing the best of human and alien engineering. But more importantly, they carried something the Devourers had never encountered: unshakable faith in their mission and each other. This is Warhawk Actual to all flights, she broadcast as the first enemy vessels entered the atmosphere. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth, we're fighting for every civilization these bastards have consumed. Today we settle the score for 27 species. The engagement began at 30,000 feet, human fighters weaving through. Formations of Devourer bioships like angry hornets attacking eagles. The alien weapons were devastatingly effective, but they were designed to exploit fear and panic. against pilots who flew with disciplined courage. Their effectiveness was dramatically reduced. On the ground, Staff Sergeant Grimwald coordinated the defense of downtown Houston with the precision of a conductor leading an orchestra. His Marines had been reinforced by soldiers, airmen, and civilians, all united by a common purpose that transcended branch loyalty or personal background. "Contact bearing 090, reported Corporal Chen, his enhanced sensor equipment detecting movement through the smoke and chaos. Multiple bioforms, approximately company strength. The Devourer ground forces that materialized from their transport pods were nightmares given form predators evolved across eons to inspire terror and extract maximum emotional energy from their prey. They expected to find humans cowering in terror, ready to be harvested. Instead, they found Americans who had been raised on stories of the Alamo and Iwo Jima. "Steady," Marines Grimwald called out as the alien warriors advanced. "Remember, these things feed on fear, so let's starve the bastards." The coordinated volley from the defensive positions created a wall of modified projectiles that struck the Devourer forces with unprecedented effect. The aliens' adaptive armor, designed to counter fear-driven attacks, couldn't compensate for weapons fired with calm precision and absolute confidence. But the most significant development occurred when Lance Corporal SEOIO unactivated the massive relay station she had constructed in Memorial Park, using principles learned from Zarkonian technology. The device began broadcasting the emotional resonance of the human defenders across all possible frequencies. The effect on the Devourer fleet was immediate and catastrophic. For the first time in their existence, they encountered a species that became more unified under pressure, rather than fragmenting the human capacity for love of country, love of family, love of the stranger fighting beside you created harmonic patterns that actively disrupted their collective consciousness. "Impossible," came the psychic scream from the Devourer prime ship. "The prey species fights without fear. Their emotional patterns create ... beauty. Dr. Ashcroft, monitoring the neural networks, watched in amazement as readings showed the Devourer fleet beginning to fragment. "Major, we're causing cascade failures throughout their command structure. They literally cannot process our combat methodology." Jung-hoon's voice crackled with excitement. "Sir, I'm detecting massive confusion in their formations. Some ships are beginning to withdraw." But Blackwood knew this was far from over. The Devourers had conquered galaxies. They wouldn't be defeated by a single tactical surprise. Even now, he could see the massive prime ship descending through the upper atmosphere, its hull bristling with weapons that could crack continents. "All units, prepare for Phase 2, he ordered. "Time to show these cosmic bullies what happens when you pick on Earth." The Devourer prime ship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a falling mountain, its biomechanical hull crackling with the absorbed energies of 27 conquered civilizations. As it approached Houston, the voices of the consumed species echoed across psychic frequencies, a chorus of despair that had broken the will of countless worlds. But today, those voices encountered something unprecedented: harmony. Major Blackwood stood atop the J.P. Morgan Chase Tower, his command post now surrounded by a fusion of human and alien technology that pulsed with coordinated purpose. Through his enhanced communications array, he could hear every human defender from Marines in downtown Houston to National Guard units in the suburbs, from Air Force pilots 30,000 feet above to Navy gunners on hastily destroyers in Galveston Bay. They all sang. Not literally, but their emotional resonance created patterns in space-time that Zarkonian sensors translated into music. The melody was complex beyond description, threads of courage interwoven with love, determination harmonizing with sacrifice, all building to a crescendo that made the stars themselves take notice. "All units, this is actual," Blackwood broadcast, as the prime ship's weapons began charging. "Execute Symphony Protocol." Across the battlefield, Every human defender began their assigned role in an orchestra of defiance. Captain Vex led her surviving fighters in coordinated attacks that weren't just tactical, they were artistic. Each pilot's maneuvers contributing to a pattern that created beauty, even as it delivered destruction. Jung-hoon, coordinated ground communications with the precision of a master conductor, ensuring that every squad, every vehicle, every individual fighter contributed their unique voice to the greater harmony. His equipment, now fully integrated with alien technology, broadcast their emotional resonance to every corner of the solar system. Staff, Sergeant Grimwald's Marines held their positions with the steadfast rhythm of a military cadence, their disciplined courage providing the baseline around which all other melodies could build. Each Marine fought not just for victory, but for the battle brother beside him, creating bonds of loyalty that resonated across dimensions. Dr. Ashcroft monitored the psychic frequencies, watching in amazement as the voices of 27 conquered species began to change. The despair that had been weaponized by the Devourers slowly transformed into something else. Hope. For the first time in eons, the consumed civilizations heard a song of defiance rather than defeat. What is this phenomenon? The psychic voice from the prime ship carried confusion rather than confidence. The prey species creates harmony from conflict. They sing while they fight. Lance Corporal Seoin's relay station amplified the human resonance, broadcasting it through the Devourer fleet with increasing intensity. The effect was cascading as more alien ships were exposed to the harmonic patterns. Their crews began experiencing emotions they had never evolved to process. Zircon, monitoring from orbit, transmitted its amazement. Chen Blackwood, your warriors are not just fighting the Devourers, you are teaching them. Their bioships are beginning to resonate with your emotional frequencies. The battle reached its climax when the prime ship opened fire with weapons designed to crack planetary crusts. But the coordinated response from human defenders created something unprecedented in the history of warfare, a symphony of destruction so beautiful, so perfectly harmonized, that it transformed the very meaning of combat. The Devourer fleet began to change. Ships that had been instruments of conquest for millennia started broadcasting new frequencies, not the screams of the consumed, but the songs of the liberated. One by one, the voices of conquered civilizations joined the human melody, adding their own cultural harmonies to the growing masterpiece. We remember. Came a new psychic voice, not from the Devourers, but from the crystal phalanxes of Meridian. We remember who we were before the consuming. We sing again, added the Void Hunters of the Spiral Arm. The prey species has given us back our voices. The prime ship, its collective consciousness overwhelmed by the resurgence of free will among its absorbed victims, began to fragment. But this wasn't destruction, it was liberation. The biomechanical hull opened like a flower, releasing streams of pure energy that reformed into the ships of 27 different species, each one now flying freely for the first time in eons. Zarkonian S-form blazed with joy as its ship descended to Memorial Park. Unprecedented, impossible, beautiful. Your species has not conquered the Devourers. You have redeemed them. Major Blackwood watched from his command post as the last of the enemy fleet transformed. Where moments before had hung instruments of cosmic horror, now flew a celebration of diversity ships from across the galaxy, each one restored to its original purpose as an expression of its species. Unique culture, the Devourer prime ship itself underwent the most dramatic transformation. Its weapons converted to instruments, its armor became concert halls, its engines sang with the voices of 1 trillion beings celebrating their freedom. It had become exactly what its name suggested, a prime ship, the first and finest example of what spacefaring civilization could achieve when it chose harmony over conquest. Dr. Ashcroft removed her neural interface, tears streaming down her face. Major, we're receiving communications from across the galaxy. Word is spreading about what happened here. Species that have hidden from the devourers for millennia are emerging from their shelters. Jung-hoon looked up from his communications station, his young face bright with wonder. Sir, we're being invited to a celebration. 27 species want to thank Earth personally. They're calling it the Symphony of Liberation. Captain Vex's voice crackled through the tactical net from her position high above the city. Houston Control. This is Warhawk Actual. The sky is clear. All threats neutralized. Welcome to the galactic community, Earth. As the sun set over Houston, Major Chen Blackwood stood among his Marines and looked up at a sky filled with impossible beauty. Ships from across the galaxy danced through the atmosphere in formations that were part military precision, part artistic expression of visual symphony that celebrated not just Earth's victory, but the universe's victory over its own darkest impulses. The war was over, the galaxy was free, and humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through conquest, but through the simple act of fighting for something greater than themselves. Semper Fidelis had become the motto of the entire galaxy.